I want to bring another journalist into this discussion. Abeer Ayyoub, you're joining us from Gaza this morning. Thank you for being with us. Good morning. Do we have Abeer on the line? Abeer?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you give us the sense of what's going on now on the streets of Gaza? It's been about 24 hours of quiet since after 29 days of course of conflict. What is the mood and atmosphere now on the Gaza street?
Actually, it's a new atmosphere, a new thing to see after 30 days of people stuck indoors. Yesterday, the streets were crowded with people. The supermarkets were open. Everyone was out. It was different from area to another. In Shijaiya and Beit Lahia, people went to explore what happened to their houses. It was like very shocking views to them. They saw their houses devastated. Even people from other areas went to Shijaiya and to the front lines. I mean, to see like what happened to the city. I asked a couple of people about like how they think, and they said we need to know Gaza again now because it's no longer the way it was before.
And what is the perception towards Hamas now, 29 days after conflict, and you're describing the mass destruction in Gaza that you don't even recognize? Is there any perception within the population there that Hamas is also responsible for the situation?
Actually, no. People know and aware that Israel is 100% responsible for the devastation that happened, the damage, the murder, the thousands being killed and injured. And I would tell you that people here like differentiate between Hamas, the faction, and Hamas, the resistance. And people like are supporting the resistance with all what they have. So I expected what you said, but I no, the case is that people are supporting Hamas because they think that the regional and international community attitude toward Gaza is so disappointing. So like having the home front strong is better than waiting a support from anyone else around the world.
But when you, of course, look at the Cairo talks today, the Palestinian Authority is leading these talks, but Hamas is being represented. What is the public opinion in Gaza want to get out of these talks? And do they see perhaps the Palestinian Authority as a leader that can represent them maybe better than Hamas?
Actually, it's something understood, like the Palestinian Authority is more accepted internationally, and this is understood to people. So it doesn't matter at the end who would negotiate, either Hamas or the PA, as long as the ceasefire agreement would meet the demands of the people here. The demands of the people here are not fantasy, like they're asking for lifting the siege, which has been slowly killing them for more than 7 years. So I believe that no matter who's negotiating in Cairo, it's a Palestinian voice at the end of the day. And yeah, it can be, more suitable that the PA is negotiating because it's widely recognized, it's widely accepted. But what matters is the outcomes of the talks.
Abeer, it's Arad Nir here. I wonder if the people in Gaza, the civil society in Gaza is prepared for another round of violence should the talks in Cairo won't bring the expected outcome of uplifting the siege.
God forbids. God forbids, because, no one is ready for another round of violence and attacks. I mean, it's crazy. Like, all the people I met yesterday, they were saying, like, we are shocked that we could stay alive and we are fine. We are walking in the streets again. It's a huge, mental stuff that we would have to deal from now on, because what we witnessed during the 3 days was more than what you can think of, more than what we saw in 2008, even more than 2012. So we are praying it's going to work, but I wasn't tired. Like yesterday, people were saying, like, do you think it's over? Do you think we're going to have, more clashes? But we were trying to dismiss this idea and think, like, no, and inshallah, like, it's going to, bring, like, talks would bring a ceasefire, because no one is ready for a new round of violence. Also, there is no more targets for the IDF to target. I mean, they damaged houses, mosques, schools, streets, full neighborhoods. So I'm not sure, like, if there is a new round of violence, what targets else would the IDF have?
Abeer, we have another question from the studio. Amir Oren from Haaretz.
Hi, Abeer. How are you?
Hi.
Everybody in the world understands that the Palestinians in Gaza are victims. But do you in Gaza, deep down, understand who victimized you?
Yeah, Israel and the international community victimized me. Why? Because I was born in a conflict zone. I would tell you, I'm 27 years old. I was born in First Intifada. I was witnessing Israeli soldiers walking beside me when I was going to my elementary school before it withdrew troops from Gaza before 2005. Also, in my secondary school, I witnessed Second Intifada. And within less than 5 years, I witnessed 3 wars, and I studied, I went to university when a strict siege was imposed on me. I was, trying so hard to afford money so I can study. It was so hard, it wasn't easy. And at the end, no one is blaming Israel. Everyone is blaming the weak side. People are blaming Hamas and resistance instead of blaming Israel for killing thousands of Palestinians in Gaza and slowly killing them. So there is no doubt, it's crystal clear that the occupation victimized me.
So Hamas is not the villains, but the heroes to you and to your friends?
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
Will you be willing to accept Mahmoud Abbas as an authority in Gaza?
Mahmoud Abbas what?
Will you be willing to accept him and the Palestinian Authority in Gaza?
He is in the Palestinian Authority already. I mean, it's not like I would accept him or not. Mahmoud Abbas has a different line. He's negotiating with Israel for the rights of Palestinians, which is something totally, opposing what Hamas is doing. Some people here are, supporting negotiations, some others supporting resistance. And I believe in this political variety. I just believe in it. I just believe we can have it. But Abbas is in the authority already. I believe that a unity government will succeed after the war to take care and to run both the enclaves, Gaza and the West Bank.
Abeer Ayyoub, a journalist, of course, from Gaza, thank you for joining us this morning, and this is hoping that the ceasefire, of course, will be sticking and their political solution will come out of all of this. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Amir.
Well, on the assumption, and it is only an assumption, that Abeer was free to express her mind under the circumstances in Gaza, there is some cause for despair in what she said, because if the Palestinians in Gaza really believe that the Hamas people who caused the destruction are heroes and not villains, what chance for peace is there? But there is also some cause for hope, because if there is some understanding reached between Israel and Hamas, Hamas, if it enjoys such a popular base, would be able to impose it on the other organizations. And yesterday, we found out from the IDF that the Palestinian Islamic Jihad was actually decimated more than Hamas was.
Right.
So indirectly, it would help both Israel and Hamas if they reach some sort of agreement.
Arad?
Well, this conversation showed us the weakness of the Israeli narrative regarding it, not only in Gaza, but the world over.
Right.
This disproportionality, again, which we brought onto this table in very, very early stages of this conflict. And unfortunately, Israel cannot convince not the people of Gaza nor the world over that it is not causing this particular damage that we are seeing, that it is being caused by Hamas, and Hamas is responsible. It doesn't work.
Israel cannot convince Hamas anyway.
No, that Hamas is responsible, I mean.
Well, but luckily enough, Abeer's line was not cut off in the middle of the broadcast, as it happened with the Finnish reporter reporting from Shifa.
Well, the Finnish reporter is not a Zionist, you know. She's very, very upset with the ways and means that her report was used here in Israel. And I say
there is a great deal of disillusionment that Gaza and Hamas is not free.
We're going to have to break there. We'll be right back after this short break.